President William RUTO and Deputy Rigathi Gachagua are inclusively, because they say that they had received support from the Rift Valley area, they received support on the Mount Kenya region and of course the Central Kenya region, that assisted or allowed them to get the space as the President and the Deputy President. Without forgetting, the Nairobi governor says you cannot bully people for 2 years and start crying just after being mentioned in 1 week until you go hiding in the bush. Bullies are the biggest cowards. All right, very harsh words there. But above all, Kipchumba Murkomen uttered, Cabinet Secretary, I don't respond to political statements. You'll get to understand the bottom line on all these sentiments creating a turmoil in the political space. And of course, we are having a conversation on United Democratic Alliance, which of course now coming to Kenya Kwanza, the ruling government, and we will have that conversation also as our newsmakers prepare the center stage on this political divide. And it's a one team. When they have the harsh words, what about the other political alliances that are watching this? Remember, President William RUTO and heads of state and government posed for a photo during the 2024 annual meeting of the African Development Bank Group at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi. That was yesterday. If you saw it, the African leaders noted that institutional reforms and easier credit terms are the twin solutions to incessant crisis in the country. That is in on the story page 10. Well, I learned that. Of course, the government is now stabilizing on the African Development Bank Group that they feel will assist the economy to run in the best way possible. CDF at 20 told on page 3 how the billion changed the game. Former Ol Kalau MP Muriuki Karui reflects on how he initiated the drafting and eventual passing of the Constituency Development Fund CDF. It has assisted so many as far as learning is concerned and other programs are concerned in the education sector, and now it's turning 20. Indeed, those people that initiated the process and of course in making sure that this thing is drafted and coming to life are happy about the same. CDF at 20, page 3. Of course, we can't forget the big conversation on page 8. Finance Bill. Parliament begins public hearing on proposals. National Assembly's Finance Committee will have to strike a balance between the Finance Bill 2024 and people's expectations, with concerns growing over some proposals. Wow, it is a conversation. Remember, when you're starting this particular drift, we had a conversation all round, each and every leader speaking about it. The Finance Bill 2024 that marks fiscal year 2024-2025. Now, the National Assembly's Finance Committee will have to strike a balance to have a commitment and understanding a way forward. How does a common mwananchi actually benefit on this situation? However, page 13 says there is a dispute why green gold ban has sparked a storm. Now, the recent ban on Muguka trade in Mombasa and Kilifi counties threatens significant revenue losses and jeopardizes the livelihoods of those invested in this industry. You all know that Muguka has actually been trending across the week, and of course those people that are directly initiated or are greatly involved in Muguka business are now claiming or are now saying that Muguka is very commercialized and is very important business in the country that at least brings back revenue. We'll get to understand how Muguka in Mombasa and Kilifi counties are affected when there is a ban of Muguka. Not forgetting that Nairobi also imports and exports will be challenged a little bit on the same. How will the Muguka issue get controlled? Will there be a ban? Will there be an effect ban on the same? But it has sparked storm across the country. So many people that depend on that business to thrive and to commit their livelihoods are now at a crisis. Elections on page 28. Oppositions fight ANC in court and the ballot. South African opposition parties compete against the ruling African National Congress on the ballot and challenge alleged impunity through court cases. That is a story on page 28 on the Daily Nation. Without forgetting, Nat Kupet in battle for JSS teachers. See the back page of the Daily Nation, as two teachers' union are embroiled in a silent battle to entice junior secondary school teachers to join them in a bid to increase their membership. The increase, 39,550 teachers deployed to JSS, would boost the membership of any union and also contribute significant amounts of money in monthly union dues to the organization. Interim officials of the JSS teachers lobby say they have been approached by both Nat and Kupet with offers to join their ranks. We are expecting much as far as education is concerned. Of course, JSS teachers were churning a member strike and get back to business, and of course there is an alignment on the education sector to have just a commitment on these involved parties that are supposed to give a direction to JSS teachers, the newly introduced to the junior secondary, to have just an alignment on the budget. And of course that will give you an insight on the story that is taking shape as far as education is concerned, as far as JSS teachers is concerned. 40,000 the number of teachers who have been deployed to junior secondary school as it stands. Now the Standard on page 2 and 3, vaccine shortage hits infant hard amid funding cuts. The problem, a crisis. How will that be managed in the Ministry of Health? High stakes in Haiti mission, national page 28 on the Standard. We'll have a review on that. And of course, world page 27, ANC test as South Africa goes to polls. We'll have that conversation as well to see who wins, who takes the center stage, who is in power, and who takes control as far as politics in South Africa is concerned. Kenyans eye glory in Oslo. That is in sport page 39. We're expecting, of course, win-win every time as Kenyans go for a competition or a sport activity as well. The center stage of the conversation on the Standard speaks about the same thing that we'd mentioned in the Daily Nation, UDA's war of words. A stern warning by UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala to political cabinet secretary and warning politicians from factions allied to both President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua has triggered a vicious inter-party battle that is threatening to implode the ruling party as leaders trade on words. That is in page 4. Listen to this. It's kind of a different hearsay on what was stated on the Daily Nation. On the Standard, Cleophas Malala utters, your recent conduct not only undermines the party's unity but also disrespect the leadership that you pledged to serve. Let this be a stern warning. Desist from such actions with immediate effect. That is UDA Secretary General utters some words. That is Cleophas Malala. Moses Kuria on the Standard says, I know Malala is being used to poke holes in me, but I will not respond. Let the country keep up with my major political announcement on August 20th. From there onwards, it will not be business as usual. It's a fight. Oscar Sudi, Kapsaret MP, says Malala is an elevated MCA suffering from illusory superiority, thinking he matches Raphael Tuju's caliber. That's very tough on the same. Mutai Kahiga, Nyeri governor, says acting Secretary General Malala in UDA like a square peg in a round hole. He doesn't fit. I have said it before, and I repeat, we must get rid of him in the coming UDA elections. Leadership is also a concern on UDA, who's to govern, who's to give direction, and I don't know who's poking holes, and I don't know who is taking control and bringing this political divide in UDA. Above all, National page 6, Ruto's masterstroke on DP as he slashes confidential votes. 800 million shillings, amount President Ruto will lose from 1.4 billion confidential vote to 600 million shillings. 880 million, amount DP Rigathi Gachagua will lose from 1.2 billion vote to 320 million. 150, that is from Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi. What Prime CS Musalia Mudavadi will lose from 300 million vote to 150 million vote. Chief of Staff Felix Koskei, 60 million shillings amount. Chief of Staff Felix Koskei will lose from shillings 100 million vote to shillings 40 million. Above all, page 7, clinician strike is on until we get 3.5 billion shillings. It's really tough on the same. Insurer Jubilee declares record 1 billion shillings dividend. The firm says it will pay shareholders a record of 1.36 billion compared with 869.6 million shillings that it paid a year ago. Page 24 on the Standard. Wow. A very good morning, and so many things are happening across the country as far as politics is concerned, as far as human interest is concerned. But I believe we'll have those stories coming in your way in just a bit. But remember also, our newsmakers right here on Lookup Television will keep you up to speed of what will be or what is expected as far as politics is concerned, as far as budgetary allocation is concerned, as far as financial bill 2024 is concerned. It is 15 minutes past 7 a.m. We are getting to our story that are making headlines this morning, and of course we'll get to understand really what is happening. Are these words going to be implemented? Are they going to take a space and action in the country? Let's get to our stories this morning. Where are you watching us from? Remember, you can use the hashtag #TheMorningDrift. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja has vowed to ensure that UDA party grows in readiness for 2027 elections. Speaking in Bomas of Kenya, where Nairobi UDA delegates promised to back his bid for chairmanship, Sakaja noted that he helped the third and fourth presidents and he can do the same for President William Ruto. Stanley Lugaria with more on that particular story that we had highlighted on the newspapers.
Delegates wa UDA ambao umechaguliwa, niendelee kuunganisha watu ama niwatawanyishe?
Addressing over 7,000 grassroots UDA delegates at the Bomas of Kenya, Sakaja reiterated the need to unite the city by electing leaders who will champion the party's agenda in the upcoming party elections.
4 out of 17. Na kwa MCAs out of 85 tukapata 35. So nikaulizwa, unaenda kutengeneza nini huko juu kama kwako Nairobi iko kazi inahitajika kufanyika? So that in 2027 we get a majority for the president, we get a majority, we get the senator, we get the women rep, we get MPs, and we get MCAs.
The county boss threw jibes at the critics, accusing them of pushing regional politics driven by tribalism.
You know, bullies are the biggest cowards. Do you know that? Bullies are the maka unenda sijui kwa msitu sijui wapi. Let me tell you, if you want respect, respect other leaders. Respect other leaders. And if you don't respect those leaders, respect the people who put them there.
The 7,000 delegates unanimously vowed to support his candidature on Friday, which marks the day for the UDA party elections, with over 360 positions up for grab at the constituency and county levels.
Sisi tuko nyuma ya Governor Sakaja, tutapanga mikakati yetu, tutafanya kazi. Mimi ninasaidia kuendeleza kazi yetu.
Ndio nyumbani mali nakula na lala, na moto ikiwaka mimi nakuwa wa kwanza kuzima. Si ndi kweli?
Health center iko mara kabisa. Pale Kware tuko sawa kabisa.
UDA party kicked off its grassroots elections at the end of last month, beginning with 7,000 elective positions at the polling stations, as well as 1,700 slots at the ward level, with the winners set to be announced soon after the Friday elections.
Wale jamaa najua wote mahali wako wamevaa majacket na makabuti. Si Nairobi ndio hii? Kuna Nairobi ingine? Kuna Nairobi ingine kweli?
And we have no shame, we have no apology, and we seek no one's permission to unite the people of Nairobi.
Stanley Lugaria, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Thank you, Stanley Lugari, for that report. Now, President William Ruto, on the other hand, has called for reforms of the global financial architecture to address debt and climate vulnerabilities in Africa. Speaking during the 59th annual meetings of the African Development Bank Group at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, Ruto said and noted that African countries are struggling with high financing interest rates.
We need a financial architecture that has the following characteristics. Number one, long-term financing. 40 years, grace period, 10 years, or something in that order. Number two, low interest rates, concessional financing, including, where possible, grants. Number three, we also need financing at scale. We also need financing that is agile, especially that responds, that is climate sensitive, so that if there are shocks, that financial architecture must be responsive. We appeal for a substantial 17th replenishment of the Africa Development Fund by at least $25 billion to increase its capacity to continue providing concessional financing to the least developed African countries.
The African Development Bank projects that Africa's real GDP growth will rise from 3.1% in 2023 to 3.7% in 2024 and 4.3% in 2025, and will improve the quality of life of the people of Africa.
Sentiments from President William Ruto. Now, Kupeta and Nat waged silent war for 40,000 JSS teachers. Remember, this is a conversation in total of 727 teachers in primary schools and 563 in secondary schools. Membership to a union is voluntary and not all teachers have subscribed as members. It is a silent war. Now, it is a reprieve for JSS teachers after the Budget and Appropriations Committee, led by Ndindi Nyoro, today announced that the committee has set aside funds to hire them on permanent and pension basis. According to Nyoro, that will be actualized if the budget is approved by the National Assembly. Also, set to benefit from the allocation if school feeding program, and in the school feeding program, let's get that report.
We have provided resources for the confirmation of JSS interns into permanent and pensionable terms. We do this because they have already done a great job so far. Of course, with very little pay, it is only fair that we treat our brothers and sisters who are current interns in a manner that they have also treated our country with a lot of respect. I want to assure the people of Kenya that the Budget and Appropriations Committee, in consultation with the entire Parliament led by the Department for Education, and in consultation with the Executive, there is an issue that has been of very great concern to Kenyans about school feeding program. And I want to assure Kenyans that you have already considered so far monies that will be going into NACONEC to advance the cause of school-going children in areas that they need support in terms of food. And therefore, school feeding program is there. We have provided for the money, and it will continue uninterrupted. In the first phase, we will be proposing around 3 billion Kenya shillings into the fund, as also we look at the strengthening its supply chains so that we continue also to enhance that budget.
Of course, Ndindi Nyoro addressing the committee yesterday in the Budget and Appropriations Committee, and says that 10 billion shillings to confirm all the 46,000 teachers to permanent and pensionable employment. We'll get that report and a clear report on the allocations in the budget, as well as 4.3 billion shillings that is allocated for employment of JSS teachers. We'll get to understand the bottom line on matters education as far as teachers is concerned. On the other hand, matters agriculture, the National Assembly Biosafety Authority has announced that it is prepared to release 3 more varieties of genetically modified GMO crops into the market once a pending court case is heard and determined. The authority has developed maize, cassava and potato varieties as part of the 42 GMO projects currently in the works. We get that report.
Speaking at the authority's 12th annual general meeting in Naivasha, NBO CEO Dr. Roy Mugira explained that they are currently working on 42 crops in preparation for their introduction into the market. However, the court cases have delayed the release of these crops by a year following the government's lifting of the 10-year ban of GMO products importation.
We held the conference when the government had just lifted the 10-year ban on importation and use of genetically modified foods. Now, we were all set to get into business and conduct business in this particular field. But again, within their rights, a number of individuals and institutions went to court and petitioned the court to stop, to petition against the lifting of the ban. We have dealt with one of those petitions that was filed in the Land and Environment Court, and the court found that we have a robust biosafety regulatory framework that is capable of assuring safety in the application of modern biotechnology.
Professor Richard Odor from Kenyatta University supported GMO products as safe for human consumption and stated that the ongoing myths surrounding GMOs are based on misinformation and emphasized the need to embrace technology in food production just as it is in other sectors.
I think we need to do a lot of training for people to accept that culture is not bad. But when culture becomes prohibited, then we need to discuss that culture. Yes, we are raised up we belong to particular cultures. People eat differently, they have different socialization, and there is nothing wrong with that. My only concern is when now culture is being taken advantage of, and therefore to reduce or prohibit introduction of newer technologies. Yes, we appreciate that you have been eating a particular set of food for years, and that's acceptable. But we are also saying we also need to be open-minded.
Vivian Iraqi, an expert in the field, attributed the fallacies around GMOs to lack of information among the public. She mentioned the efforts are being made to disseminate accurate information about GMO products to dispel these myths.
The challenges that we've seen in transitioning biotech product to society is the communication challenge, and that's the unique aspect that ISA AfriCenter brings to this conference.
Martin Masharia, Lookuptv.
All right, thank you so much, Martin Masharia, for that report. GMO has been a case in the country, and of course a conversation that is diving, agriculture as the backbone of each and every country's economy. And we're taking a short break right here on the Morning Drift. Remember, the big conversation is coming in just a few minutes away, where we're having the greater and the depth of opinion. You say something today, you say something tomorrow, yet what are the depths of your opinion, both the popular and the unpopular? We'll have that conversation in just a bit. Remember, you can keep us in touch on the comment section right here on Facebook and YouTube. Use the hashtag The Morning Drift. See you in just a bit.
Barwesa is along the Kerio Valley. Along the Kerio Valley, we are currently experiencing a drought. For the last 2 years, we have been having a dismal harvest, and a lot of foundation have seen it fit. This is the second time a lot of foundation is visiting this place within a year. So a lot of foundation has come here, is supporting several households with these gift hampers. We'll ensure that we have members of the public who are here who will receive these gift hampers on behalf of Loto Foundation, and they'll take them to the house, and maybe it will assist in mitigating the drought effect that they're having around here.
Thank you for the food you brought us. It's that gift hamper actually will assist our family to run for 2 days.
Leo lote imeingia hapa, tulikuwa nasikianga techeparbar wapi, lakini leo iko Kabinyasi. Tumefurahi sana. Wamekuja na chakula ila hatujaona. Tumefurahi sana.
Nasikia ni mzuri sana. Okay. Tumbe mmesiba. Leo ni leo.
Asante sana, Mungu abariki nyinyi na kuongeza mingi.
Kongoi.
Salamu ya Mungu.
Asante mama.
Nasema asante sana Loto Foundation.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed the life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
But another beautiful, lovely, wonderful moment that God has given unto us. You can see how loaded the servant of God is. We are going to talk about keys to financial success.
But the Lord wants us to be business-minded. He wants us to be business people. He wants us to care about our life. He doesn't want us just to float through life and have nothing and be struggling and suffering all the time.
The moment we know who God is to us, the moment we understand who Christ is to us and why he came, then automatically we don't even struggle with finances. We don't struggle with all these things.
And this is a very good eye-opener, and it's actually like a course teaching you what to do to be able to have financial success in your life. I mean, somebody doesn't have the key.
Jesus said, I give you the keys to the kingdom. So we need to grab them from him and work with them.
Thank you.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. This is the Morning Drift. I'm seeing Kevin Hutz, Sibur Culture, and the best, of course, Marianne Washiali. They're live right here in the Morning Drift. Keep the conversation going. Remember, we will be having a conversation on the depths of opinion. How heavy is your opinion? What are the weights, and what is the popular and the unpopular opinion? We have had conversation. Remember, even in the politics that we are discussing this morning, that there is an opinion that each and every politician is making, but how is the great weight on these particular opinions, and what are the depths of this particular opinion? We'll have that conversation in just a few minutes to come. But first things first, transport came to a standstill in Kerugoya town after chaos erupted between Kukene Sacco, matatus and taxi drivers. The matatus claim that the taxis do not have valid licenses, while the taxi drivers affirmed that they have a court order allowing them to operate. We get that story.
A growing dispute between matatu and taxi drivers left commuters stranded on Wednesday morning, with Kukene Sacco chairman Harrison Mureithi saying that the taxis do not have permission to operate in that area and affirmed that they will not allow their activities to continue without a valid license.
We are striking because of the vehicles in Kirinyaga, unlicensed, not even given the so-called permission to ferry passengers. This from Kerugoya to Kutus and to Mwea.
Joel Magundu, the chairman of the small vehicle drivers, dismissed Kukene Sacco's claims that they do not have a valid license to operate in that area, urging them to obey the law.
Na tumekuwa na shida na county government of Kirinyaga, ya kwamba county government of Kirinyaga, to be very specific, tarehe 13 December 2018 walitupatia barua magari madogo yawe yanaoperate hapa Kirinyaga. Kisha baadaye wakaanza kutumia officers wake kuja kutuhangaisha, na wakasema ya kwamba hatufai kuoperate.
Police intervened in the chaos, urging both parties to cooperate peacefully and follow the law to restore calmness in the Kerugoya area.
Arabu tuchukue ofisi wa Prosiwi na ya Kokena, tuende ofisi, tuende tukasuluhisha hiyo maneno huko. Sawa sawa? Tuende tukasuluhisha maneno wapi? Huko. Na kitu kingine, kabla hatujaenda huko, watu wasichukue sheria mkononi.
Yasmin Maina, Lookuptv.
Thank you so much, Maureen, for that report. Approximately 19,000 people die each year due to air pollution in Kenya. This is according to a report by the World Health Organization, which places Nairobi as one of the polluted cities that is killing its citizens. While vehicles emission is the biggest contributor to air pollution, at the center of it all, the fumes is a special group of people that are mandated to control the traffic at the expense of their health. Brandon Moy brings you this special feature dubbed Choking on Duty that highlights the dangers that traffic police officers face while ensuring that you travel in a controlled manner to save time. Here's a special report from Brandon Moy.
Nairobi, the green city under the sun. The streets of the capital are busy all day, traffic bumper to bumper, with individuals rushing against time to either get to work or get home. Thousands of vehicles drive in and out of the CBD in a day, and with each engine turned on, one thing comes out: vehicular emission. A threat to the very environment we depend on for survival. As the rush to get to the destination is amplified by each acceleration, the toxic fumes become the new reality of pedestrians using the roads. However, there is a faction of people left out of the equation, the traffic police officers, whose job is to control the very traffic that is killing them one vehicle at a time as they choke on duty. When they are busy controlling traffic in the city and ensuring that everything is moving, they expose themselves to dangers that do not need a gun. Exposure to air pollution has great impact on the respiratory system, as Dr. Navid Merali explains.
Air pollution itself has got a very big problem in our airways. The molecules or the chemicals that are produced by these gases are what we call as free radicals. These free radicals cause harmful reactions in the airway by leading to excess inflammation. This is a very similar pathway to how cancer cells are formed, whereby there is persistent damage or free radical formation in cell tissue, and this leads to cell damage or chronic cellular damage. Air pollution then increases the risk of airway diseases. Some of these diseases are what we know as asthma. They can lead to chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. They can lead to increased incidence of chest infections, and they can even lead to an increased risk of lung cancer or other malignancies as well.
Paul Sigilai is a chief inspector and works with the traffic department. His work entails being on the streets to control traffic. Inspector Sigilai says he has been controlling traffic for over 3 years now and attests to the fact that his health has been affected as a result.
I've been on the traffic department for about almost 3.5 years, yes, in the 3.5 years in the CBD. Yes, there's numerous challenges, particularly the fumes. The fumes are not that good for human health, and on some occasion I've also gone to the hospital for medical checkup, having the chest congestions occasioned by dust and fumes in the CBD. And the challenges are there, indeed, the challenges of exposure. Putting in mind that the fumes also affect the environment, the ozone layer. So if you can imagine it is affecting the ozone layer, what about the human beings?
The posting of officers is rotational, with each one of them lasting 8 hours on the road and at times even more, which leads to more exposure.
These are the same officers who will be here for the whole month, and we keep on rotating them. Sometimes they are here at the railways roundabout, sometimes they are the highway, Uhuru Highway, Now, the rotation happens on weekly basis.
Their health is on the line as they continue to call for sick-offs.
Some officers do report cases of inspection, particularly chest infection, a lot of congestion. The officers spend more time actually standing and walking, and they rarely have time to rest because the traffic duty is very demanding. We have the congestion, the traffic jam, and you hardly get time to go and rest. You only have maybe 5 minutes to go and have a little, a cup of coffee and then back again.
So what measures do officers take to protect themselves from the effects of pollution as they carry out their duty?
On the part of emission from exhaust fumes of motor vehicles, we actually tell them to put on masks, and most of them have masks in town. You see, they have masks which will actually prevent what we call toxic contaminants, which are emitted from the smoke of motor vehicles from getting to their respiratory system.
Without proper equipment while on the road for hours and hours, their vulnerability is evident because the more they take in, the more their system weakens.
The longer you are exposed, or the longer you're exposed to harmful gases, the worse or the higher the risk of your development of airway diseases, and the higher your severity of these diseases becomes. If you're going to be out in the street like a traffic policeman, smack in the middle of a busy highway whereby there's lots of cars, there's lots of exhaust fumes, you can expect that such a person is at a higher risk of developing chronic lung disease.
Vehicle emission have proven to be toxic because of the compounds released during combustion. The chemical components after combustion proving to be dangerous not just to humans but also to the environment.
Yeah, because you have dust, of course, and like I said, you have also components that have not been combusted. You get to have particles in the air, and those particles in the air, which we refer to as particulate matter, will have your COs and NOs and SO2, SOs. Those are components that have been emitted from the engines being absorbed, that is stuck onto the particulate matter, which we call dust. And therefore you're inhaling compounds or chemicals or molecules that are attached to dust, and that is where our story starts with our health.
While ozone is an invaluable compound in the upper atmosphere for our continued existence, when it forms on the ground level as smoke, it has a vast array of health issues that come along with it.
There is also what we call as ground level smog. Ground level smog is composed of poisonous gases that create a thick vapor that we end up inhaling. That is mainly as a result of car exhaust gases, diesel engines, and sometimes also from factories.
The use of masks has been fronted as one of the best ways in which one can protect oneself from the effects of air pollution.
There are two ways to look at it. The first is, what can the everyday mwananchi do? And one of the easiest things to do is to wear a mask. Masks, even though sometimes they're uncomfortable, reduce the amount of particulate matter, like soot, that you inhale. They may not reduce the amount of, the regular mask may not reduce the amount of gases that you inhale, but the amount of fine particles that will be reduced. There are specialized masks called which have got devices that can convert the harmful gases into less harmful ones, but I don't think that's something everybody is going to have access to or wear. Some of the things that we do for somebody who has no choice but to be in a polluted environment, wearing a mask is an easy solution.
So what should people exposed to pollution look out for after exposure?
The most common respiratory symptom generally is cough. And yes, with pollution, the most common symptom will still generally be cough. But it varies. For example, an asthmatic exposed to air pollution may start wheezing a lot more. Or, for example, an asthmatic, somebody who's not asthmatic, exposed to a high amount of pollution, may either develop asthma-like symptoms. They can develop coughing, they can develop wheezing. Some people can develop shortness of breath. But it depends, because air pollution is also linked to cancers, and there may be a higher risk of developing lung cancer as a result of chronic exposure to pollution.
The state of air quality in Nairobi still needs some working. For the month of May, from the 12th to the 22nd, the air quality in the city has been majorly moderate. At the beginning of the month, most days experienced good air quality due to the heavy rains witnessed in the country. During the month of May, different areas including Kariobangi North recorded unhealthy air quality, which was unhealthy for sensitive groups. Other affected areas include Nyerere Road, which surpassed the unhealthy mark, registering 102, with other areas registering moderate quality. The areas include Dandora Phase 4, Kangemi Health Center, Nairobi National Park, Kariobangi North Health Center, Nyayo Estate Gate B, Nyayo Estate Gate D, Elk Office, Nyayo Stadium, and the Aga Khan Academy. An estimated 40% of Nairobi's PM2.5 air pollution concentrations are attributable to road transport. PM2.5 is fine particulate matter that is 2.5 microns or less in diameter. These tiny particles are inhalable into the lungs and can induce adverse health conditions. The rise in PM2.5 concentration in Nairobi is primarily due to the presence of large and aged vehicle fleet, inadequate road network, and poorly enforced vehicle emission standards.
The regulations require that they make a requirement for testing of vehicles. But that requirement, we were not able to operationalize it because we didn't have standards for the vehicles. Recently, the vehicle emission standards were adopted by the East African Community member states. That's in 2022. We adopted the standards. We have also amended the regulations, the air quality regulations 2014. We are waiting for the gazettement of the air quality regulations 2024, which have standards for the vehicle, because we could not operationalize that without one standard.
Despite accounting for only 9% of the population, the city hosts over a third of the country's 3 million vehicle fleet. However, only 12.8% of Nairobi residents possess vehicles.
The population in Nairobi is very, very high, yeah, and the population of humans in Nairobi is also very high. Given that every young guy, you, me, my young brother, whenever they get a job, the first dream they have is to own a car. Okay, could be operating from the same estate, living for the same job place, but everybody would be happy driving on their own beast.
Pollution is among the leading causes of death in Kenya, especially in Nairobi. The World Health Organization estimates that 19,000 people die annually in Kenya due to air pollution. The United Nations Environment Programme UNEP report shows that of the total death in Kenya resulting from air pollution, Nairobi accounted for 70% of those deaths, indicating the high degrees to which air pollution is prevalent in Kenya's capital. As of May 2024, data from IQ Air shows that 490 people have so far died from air pollution in Nairobi. Experts have warned that Nairobi's air quality is getting worse each day, with particulate matter PM2.5 levels getting higher than the recommended limit by WHO.
Especially in our city of Nairobi, where there are hundreds and thousands of cars on almost every major road. People are walking next to the cars. There's lots of exhaust fumes. There's lots of factories. If you go to an industrial area, you'll see there's lots of smoke. You can even see the air is not very clear. And if we look at Nairobi's air quality index, which is what we use to assess how good our air is, Nairobi's air quality index is rated as moderate. Moderate is generally unhealthy. This puts vulnerable people, especially asthmatics, people with disease, people with chronic lung diseases, at risk of having increased flare-ups, increased admissions. It really just becomes a big problem.
The government, however, has measures in place to help mitigate the effects of emission.
So anytime these amended regulations are gazetted, we will roll out vehicle emission testing. It will be a requirement that when for private vehicles it will be once after every 2 years. Commercial vehicles it will be once annually. Okay, we will be administering stickers, emission compliance stickers for vehicles that have complied with the requirements. Upon testing, we will designate testing centers where people, owners of vehicles will be required. Once these regulations are gazetted, owners of vehicles will have to take their vehicles there for testing. Once they pass the test, you get a sticker.
The biggest challenge to dealing with unroadworthy vehicles has been the lack of proper regulatory standards. The voice on what should be done is uniform across the board, with the threat on health very evident.
So it is true, when you have a vehicle that is stationary, the bus stops, when vehicles are picking passengers and the exhaust are directed to the bus stop or to a shop next to the bus stop or a kiosk, then you have very high concentrations of the compounds that are being exhausted and are inhaled, and over time the individuals get into more health issues.
If we were to reduce the number of motor vehicles on the highway, the amount of air pollution would go down. More sustainable transport systems that, for example, other countries have implemented include like electric trains, or having specialized roads that can accommodate many cyclists, tends to reduce the amount of noxious gases produced.
Currently, Nairobi, the network monitoring is still very limited, because most of the monitoring sites are concentrated in some few areas, but some areas have no monitoring equipment. Secondly, this data, we don't have a central repository where we can access this data.
The sun sets in the green city under the sun. Pedestrians and traffic officers who have been busy working around the clock to fend for their families retreat home with conditions that are slowly taking their lives.
Normally we deploy the officers for 8 hours. We've got the first and the second shift, and the first one begins at around 5 in the morning, and that one runs until sometimes in the day around 2 or thereabout. Then the second shift begins until almost 10 p.m.
Traffic officers who have cleared the roads are now forced to struggle to breathe, with lungs choking on duty. And as the vehicles continue to flock to the streets, so does the smoke, reducing the quality of air. Visions become blurry, indicating that for those exposed to poor air quality, their future is bleak and an emission away from death. Brian Amuai, Lookuptv, Nairobi.
Indeed, what a story from Brian Amuai there, explaining the situation on air pollution and its effect, of course, emissions and everywhere across the country. It is a very captivating story. Remember, you can still watch it on our social media platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. Share with us your comments on air pollution right here in the country. We're taking a short break, but before that, let me brief you on the conversation on depths of opinion, both the popular and the unpopular. What are the weight? How far you can go with your opinion? How is your statement valid? And how important is your opinion? How does it shape our society? And how does it impact the society as well? Let's meet on the second table, where we are discussing with our lovely guests right here on the studio. And to keep the hashtag The Morning Drift, what is the depths of opinion? See you in a bit.
Once again ni kwa hisani ya Tatua Tatu, na kwa hisani yako wewe kucheza Tatua Tatu, kila wakati ambapo unacheza kuna asilimia fulani ambayo inakuja kusaidia. Siku ya leo kuna shule ya Dr. Agre ambao watakuwa wanapata modern kitchen. Hebu kama ucheki mambo makubwa jamani. Hii sasa, hii hapa ni store. Vyakula vikija vinatulia hapa. Hapa sasa ndio mambo yanafanyika sasa. Tayari unasikia something nice inaiva. Chakula ikiiva inachukuliwa pole pole, inapelekwa katika hii hall ambayo imeshikana na state of the art kitchen. Yote haya ni kwa hisani ya CDF ya Starehe ikishirikiana na Tatua Tatu.
at another beautiful, lovely, wonderful moment that God has given unto us. Now you can see how loaded the servant of God is. We are going to talk about keys to financial success.
But the Lord wants us to be business-minded. He wants us to be business people. He wants us to care about our life. He doesn't want us just to float through life and have nothing and be struggling and suffering all the time.
The moment we know who God is to us, the moment we understand who Christ is to us and why he came, then automatically we don't even struggle with finances. We don't struggle with all these things.
And this is a very good eye-opener, and it's actually like a course teaching you what to do to be able to have financial success in your life. I mean, somebody doesn't have the key.
Jesus said, I give you the keys to the kingdom. So we need to grab them from him and work with them.
Thank you.
Start your day with a workout routine, an exciting moment of exercise that is simple but powerful for your ultimate fitness. Build your strength, shape and body muscles with lunges, push-ups, squats, burpees, planks, dumbbells and more. Let's work out every Monday to Saturday from 6:30 a.m. on Fitness Zone, a one surefire way to attack your fitness regimen effectively.
Brikicho band to the Brikicho band.
Kase, nasikia Lookuptv anakuja shule leo.
Guys, let's sing, let's dance, let's break a bone. Your guy is also going to do poetry, and also let us all test our flexibility by doing a lot of gymnastics. Each and every Saturday, catch me live here from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Let's have fun. Only on the #1 TV station, Lookuptv, with I, your host, Hannah Jackson.
If you want to have a proper outlook of the economy, then you have to speak to the walls and gears of the integral businesses in the country.
And I want to be able to make the youths and everybody coming up in Kenya know that this is here locally.
Men and women in the thick of the bust of markets rising and falling, fighting to make their business decisions stick.
I've always lived in my career that I can never be late.
You need to train by yourself. You need to practice by yourself. Then from there you can compose yourself and give kind of services like this.
On season 2 of the Captain's Arena, we seek the inside of the minds, predict the shift in the markets, get inspiration to start and make sense of it all.
Just watch what everybody else is doing and just make sure you're giving back to the society.
Oof. This is the Captain's Arena.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed the life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
Wow, welcome back. Now remember, I had promised you that we are having a conversation on the opinion. Have you ever given an opinion, therefore you start wondering, what did I say in just a few minutes that you spoke? What are the weights of opinion? How is opinion very important, more so to people who speak both in public and elsewhere? But how does it shape a society? How does it shape a community? What are the important aspects of opinions in a particular environment? That is a conversation that we are having, and remember, it's on The View on depths of opinion, both the popular and the unpopular. And as we speak now, we are giving opinions just to make sure that you have a captivating morning, even as we drift this morning. It is 25th of May 2024, and this conversation kick starts now. My name is Okech. I am joined in by, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, my name is Anne Kitelesi. I'm a sustainability consultant and also an author of the Unpopular Opinion.
Nice to have you right here. It's really a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
Please introduce yourself, sir.
Thank you, Okech. This is Generali. That's my popular name. I'm Generali. I'm a student at the Cooperative University of Kenya, and I'm serving as the current Speaker of the Congress House, and I'm also a member of the Young African Leaders and Aspirants, that is YALA. I sit as a member of YALA Secretariat, and I'm also a youth lead. I'm so much into issues concerning youths, and that's all.
Wow, very packaged lines right here with our guest, the popular and the unpopular opinion introduction, of course, to what is generally opinion. But before we get to that, I really love this coincidence that you guys are wearing yellow. What's the thing?
And unfortunately, I'm not from the, it's believed that in our country the yellow color represents a particular party. It's very obvious. But to the contrary, I'm in the other party. I'm a member of ODM by default. So looks matters a lot. At times we put everything aside to just make sure we at least look presentable.
Wow.
Thank you.
Indeed, presentable. What is your take on the same?
Perhaps for her she resembles. Perhaps she's a lowest of the party. So I don't know. Perhaps for her case, she's an agent of the UT.
But I know you're happy about the same.
What my colleague will want to insinuate. For me, it's about happiness.
Nice.
And yellow is a happy color.
Nice.
So today outside, you're still waiting for the sun. Why not be the sun? Yes. So that's why I'm in yellow, to brighten up the day.
Indeed. Yes. How is your week coming along? Of course, as you mentioned, brightness in a day.
Yeah, I think it all starts with how you wake up every morning, how you wanna end the day, and when you put up a happy face, positive mindset, I think it prepares you to conquer the day. And each day is a building block to our future. So if I wake up and I feel happy and I share the happiness with everyone else, at the end of the day, I share that brightness, and also I build onto a stable block so that tomorrow can be better. That's
Wonderful.
why I always want to be happy.
Indeed. Yeah. Very happy. Of course, let's start the conversation with Salvini. You, of course, as mentioned, as a kiongozi and as chairman, a youth leader, when you view the entire design of opinion and as a leader, what comes to your mind when you talk about opinion before your people and, of course, from you as well?
When you're talking of opinion, this is something that aims of essence when it comes to us as citizens. It is your mandate to give your opinion in an open, with an open mind. And so the basic logical or the logical understanding of opinion is this something that the way you view something, you will give your opinion on the way you view something. It will either be popular or unpopular. Now, when you're talking of the unpopular opinion, it is now these are beliefs that that they contradict the convenient, the status quo, the general belief of a nation or a people. But we have the other side of the opinion. Where we have the popular, where these are generally beliefs that are supported or that are believed to be of benefit by the community. So for me, when it comes to opinion, I am always very consistent when it comes to giving out my opinions, and being in a position of leadership, it means I'm one of the outstanding people when it comes to giving out my opinions. And Okech, we are in a nation that it's so sad to say so, that if we publicly or we openly give out opinions, you'll find, I don't know the best term that you use, but youth call it kufinywa. You'll find yourself being frustrated, you'll find yourself being intimidated by those political leaders simply because you're giving out your opinion. We are student leaders, we are leaders in different capacities. When we are talking of opinions, we are allowed, and it's open, it's something that we are allowed to discuss in every way possible. The other day when we are currently discussing the finance bill, I am allowed to give my opinion on the bill as well. And I say I'll openly reject it with my reasons validly given, and I'll support them as well. So as my opinion, my opinion is simply to reject the bill, and that is my opinion, and I have reasons as to why I want the bill to be rejected.
Thank you. Nice. And of course, you just measuring your conversation on a speech opinion, of course, verbal opinion. But I want Kitilisi to just elaborate for us. Of course, you're an author, and in the process, of course, of writing, there is an opinion that is in written form. What is your take on opinion as well?
Okay, so well, when you look at the human society, it is usually shaped by the perceptions and opinions that we hold, and most of the time these opinions are the ones that actually determine how we are gonna progress, how we're gonna develop, or even under development. And it is through these opinions that we need to ensure that whatever perceptions I have, whatever opinions I have, the opinions that hold ground, the opinions that can really help us to become a better society, not just going with the status quo, because there is usually a tendency of the masses falling into certain opinions that are not really progressive, and it requires somebody who has courage, who is strong enough to come out and speak it out, because with that you tend now to get a trajectory that really helps the entire society to see what are they doing that is not right or it is right, how can we amplify what is right, and what is not right, how can we change it, replace it with opinions that can lead to a better culture in our society. So for me, opinions should be looked at from a progressive point of view. Let us not just be comfortable just because we were born and
just because you can speak. Just
because you can speak, you can say anything, and also just because we were born and things were being done in a certain manner, it doesn't mean that they were right. It has been proven over and over. We human beings, we have that tendency of creating monsters out of solutions. Right now we could be thinking of a solution, but we don't know that we might be creating a monster in the future. So that is why we need people with different varied opinions to come up and speak, and always to ensure that we're not going through the status quo. We need to change, we need to have a mind shift, in what we think and what we say.
When you're talking about not just speaking, and it's not just a matter of come blab words and then leave. So when is it the position, or at what points do we understand that this is a moment that I need to give an opinion?
Oh, perfect. Thank you for that question. I think it is very, very important for somebody, first of all, to do an assessment to see what is going on in the society. It is very important to be aware of what is going on. Then once you are aware, also look at your own moral conscience or moral compass. Is it right? Is it wrong? Then if it is right, how do you encourage people to continue doing that? If it is wrong, then you need also to, first of all, be true to yourself, and then also consult other people, hear what is their take on this kind of opinions. And then once you've been able now to determine that this should be the way, the road that people should be following, that's where now you can go ahead and start speaking about it. And also, as he had just mentioned, at times you find that you might be speaking the right thing, but because the general perception in the society is on the contrary, you find that you might be targeted in a negative way, and that can come to affect you. So also the approach in which you use for you to be able now to share your opinions, I think it really matters a lot. But the good thing is, do research, do proper research, so that you're able to back up the opinions that you're passing across. Exactly.
Right, of course. It's a heavy conversation. That's why I don't want to leave it around these matters so much. In terms of now strategizing and understanding that this is an opinion that I want to give, and you're standing before people, but how are we supposed to make an approach? How do we even create an approach to make sure that my opinion is going to matter to the people that I'm speaking to?
When you talk of an approach, we have to look at it in both ways. The approach that you use when you want to give out your opinion matters a lot.
Really?
And I say that I'm so much consistent when it comes to matters leadership, because I personally am a leader, and we listen to different opinions when it comes to how you govern your people. You'll obviously give them that open forum to also give give their opinions on everything that is happening. So the approach that you use before you give your opinion matters a lot, and that will determine everything. Now we have different ways that we can as well use to give opinions. I mentioned the other day of the finance bill. Right now it's in the it's in the public. We're having the public participation of the finance bill. Some people are not. There are people who are not who cannot be in a position to go to parliament and give their views, but there are the representatives there, the members of parliament, who will always give their opinion on behalf of the citizens. You see, so when we use the leaders to speak on our behalf, which to the contrary again does not happen, because those guys are there. They are there to satisfy their needs, forgetting the common mwananchi who took them to those offices. So the approach that we use to give opinions to the public, the approach that we use to give opinions when it comes to issues, leadership, governance, be it education or whichever theme that it is, matters a lot. We have approaches that we can use. We have law enforcement agencies that we can approach when we want to give opinions. Right. We can as well go to the streets and give opinions.
Well, are they working? Are the agencies working?
The agencies are not working.
Because we're now getting to the voice of a common man, sauti ya mwananchi, where we tend to understand that a Kenyan must speak because the agencies are not working.
Now, when you see the agencies are not working, that is now a common mwananchi that will now take the authority in their hands and go to the streets and start shouting and yelling unnecessarily, because they are seeing the representatives, the members of parliament, the leaders that they elected are not representing them. The agencies are not doing their work. So what's left? It's for them to go to the streets. And to the contrary, again, whenever they're seen on the street, they start fighting with the officers, and we're losing lives daily. So what's the way forward?
All right. Do you think that's the right direction, of course, in making opinion where a common man must speak so that the message can be passed to, even before we get to Anne, who will explain to us, of course, the impact of these opinions, everyone is able to speak. Do you think this is the right structure, the right area to go to as far as sauti ya mwananchi is concerned?
They have proven to us that that is the best way possible, because for me as a student leader, the government will only listen to us that we don't have a hell being scrapped, not unless we go to the streets. Us shouting in offices, they will not listen to that. Until they'll see students rioting in different streets is when they'll start acting. So we believe, it's a general belief, that the government will never listen to opinion in a humble way. They have to see us act in the streets is when they'll start acting. So for me, I support. If the agencies and the people we elected in those offices are not doing their roles, then let us take the mandate upon ourselves and let us go to the streets so that our opinions be heard.
Indeed, taking the mandate, of course, by ourselves, and you realize that now people tend to talk a lot, you know, on social media, also physically. They tend to speak a lot without understanding the measures of their opinion. So how does really opinion impact a society?
Because we are social beings, and how we communicate is through words. It's always important to allow people to self-express themselves, and actually that is a human right, for you to be able to express, as long as you do not infringe my rights or the rights of the other person. So as we are at that, it is very, very critical for us to allow people to use different forums for them to be able to express. If somebody feels going to the street is what is going to help them to be able to push their agenda, well and good, let them be allowed to go to the streets, as long as they are doing that, they don't infringe on the rights of other people, they don't destroy property, and they don't probably they don't cause chaos. Do it in a manner that is respectable. If somebody thinks maybe going to the social media and being able to share whatever opinions they hold, that is also agreeable, and it's also allowed, as long as also you do not infringe on the rights of other people. If you feel that you can actually come up with a book and with opinions that you want to also express, that is also a good medium for you to use. At the end of the day, is what is gonna work for you, what are you comfortable with. If you look at society, even from the prehistoric times, you find that people have always had that opportunity to express themselves. And those people who took it upon themselves to lead the way, either by going to the streets, either by mobilizing people, even if it's at the workplace, whether it is at the marketplace, at homes, you find that that is how change has happened. Revolutions happen because there is somebody who has a contrary opinion, and then they go ahead, they mobilize, and then they do something about it. So I think it has been a human journey that we always need to go an extra mile to be able to pass our opinions. But I don't think as a modern society we should continue, for example, having to go to the streets just for us to be heard. It is important for all of us to know that we have a responsibility. If I am a leader, I have a responsibility. I need to go into office and do the right thing. And if I do not know what the right thing is, I need to consult my people, the ones that I'm leading, so that at the end of the day, I'm always implementing what is in line with what the people, the society expects me to implement. So that we avoid, we lose a lot of resources and time having to go to the streets to remind, for example, leaders, this is what you're supposed to be doing. We lose a lot of money, even in the workplaces, when people have to stop working to go on strike. You saw what has happened in our country with the doctors. More than 50 days they were away from work. There are so many people that have lost their loved ones because of that. We don't need to be going to that extent for us just to pass an opinion or to pass a point. We need to be a society that is growing with time. We cannot be advancing technologically, yet when it comes to our moral conduct, how we do our things, we're still thinking like, the people in the 18th century. We need to evolve, we need to move forward. So we need to take that responsibility and be accountable, so that people don't have to spend so much time reminding us that this is what needs to be done.
I think you guys have taken the direction on leadership. And of course, if you look at the situation right here, of course, I was reading on the news highlights this morning, that there are also opinions that are being said as far as leadership is concerned, and different parties, of course, generally will be able to answer that clearly. There is a point of now war on words. Leaders have clashed, giving out opinions and the sentiments on a different divide. Do you think that's a way of strategizing and structuring, that your opinion must be heard, what you speak must be heard, and of course people must listen to you?
I want to give a very unpopular opinion. That as a leader, you should never be aggressive. You should never be assertive. Neither should you be militant in any way. When you become too aggressive, it creates that environment of fear. It creates that environment of discomfort. Indeed. In the sense that a common mwananchi cannot approach you. Why? Because they fear that your aggressiveness may exceed to them.
Indeed.
So the current happenings in our country, we are seeing people exchanging words, giving their opinions in different ways. But again, is that the right thing they are doing? Is that the right direction that we should take as a nation? We need to ask ourselves that. So leaders in different positions, let us see on how we address our issues. Because the moment we publicly start exchanging words, publicly start using some abusive languages, that will never solve anything in our nation, and that will never give an alternative to opinions.
Indeed.
So my take on the current happening is that just like we were talking the previous day with you, when you have an issue that is so pinching, there are approaches that you need to make. And the funny thing is that what is happening is it involves the ruling party, rather. These are people who hold a very higher positions in this country. The moment we will start engaging and exchanging words, tutaanza siasa ambazo hazifai as early as now. Right. And we saw in the previous regime, when the former president and his deputy, the same thing that we are now starting to experience as early as now. Are there best approaches that can be used to solve such issues? Because these are indoor issues that can be called, that there are better approaches that can be used for the issues to be solved. Thank you.
Indeed. Better issues to be solved. And I'm looking at a story on the same, where you're giving an opinion, leave alone leadership and governance, that the voice of authority is giving an opinion, and yet the common mwananchi now wants to pick something from that particular opinion. How should a leader structure himself or herself to make sure that what I'm saying is going to, I know that there's some place I want to go on. There's some things I want to stretch on this particular opinion, but you realize that the leader is just speaking for his betterment. Let people feel like I know how to speak. Then I'm a tough leader. My opinions are very sharp. How does a leader structure himself in terms of now giving his output and opinion?
Okay. I think leadership is not a forum for you to better yourself alone. Leadership is an opportunity each one of us has been given so that we are able to serve. And in serving, it requires you to put the needs of other people before your own needs, or to be able to balance the two. But if you find yourself as a leader, you are putting your needs before the needs of everybody else, and then you try to come up with a narrative to push, certain opinions so that you can better yourself or your friends or whatever you want to benefit from it. I think that is wrong, and that is where it's about also our morals. What do we stand for as a society? And it all starts with who I am, where I come from, what are my values. So I need to have the correct values for me to move to a point whereby I know how to drive a certain narrative, I know how to come up with opinions. And when I'm coming up with an opinion, it's not just about me and how I'm going to benefit from it. We need to move past the level of me, myself, and mine. Right. Because humanity, it's much more enjoyable and joyful when all of us are actually benefiting from all the resources that God has bestowed upon us. So let a leader, first of all, interrogate what are their inner motives. Are these motives that are there to help I alone, or I want to support, or they're there to help everybody else? It doesn't matter which side of divide you're coming from. As long as you are a leader, you need to put the needs of each and everyone at the same level. Indeed. So that you are able to drive opinions or ideas that are going to benefit each one of us. Wow. At the end of the day, if all of us can benefit, then we carry a lot of it will carry a lot of weight, and it becomes sustainable than if we only benefit a few people in society. And that is where I can actually draw an unpopular opinion. Life is more enjoyable when all of us are doing better.
Right.
Even if you just look at your family, if everybody in the family is doing well,
okay,
everybody is happy. If you need maybe to do a development project, it becomes very easy because this one is chipping in this one. But you can imagine a family whereby it's only one person who is doing well, the rest are not, are struggling. You find that that family will never be at peace. The person who is doing well is always on receiving phone calls. I need this, I need that. So they feel like they're being drained. The same as even in the country right now, when a few people are doing so well, whereas majority are not, you find that at the end of the day we'll never have peace. These ones, the ones that are doing well are trying to preserve whatever they have so that the majority don't get to take away what they already have. And that creates a disparity in our society, and it makes our life even to be much more difficult. And so there is importance for leaders to always think about how does everybody benefit from these ideas or these opinions I'm trying to drive across.
All right. A youth wants his opinion to be heard and very aggressive, coming out on stage, giving out and pouring out his aggressiveness and of course his opinion. What is your take on the opinion that comes to a youth giving his opinion? Because they're saying this is the voice of a country, this is the voice of a family. The youth is now the second leader. What is your take on youths and their opinions? Are they being heard? Are they being felt?
Youths are being used. They're never heard, neither are they felt. And it pains me when I'm talking about this, because I'm particularly a youth. I've sat with youths, I've engaged them. Their voices are never heard, neither they're being felt. They are being used. The other time we were with my colleague youths, my Yala secretariats, we were trying to figure out how best can we involve the youths in different, so that they also feel that they are part of this nation. And we came up with a proposal. We came up with something that could benefit the youths. When we called the media and gave our opinions, the response that we got was so disheartening. We were trying to figure out that is it possible as a nation that these youths, rather than using them for our own political gains as politicians, these youths, rather than using them to shout in our rallies, these youths, rather than using them as our goons, rather than using them as our bodyguards, how best can we reward them? And we said that particularly my member of parliament back home is almost 65 years old, and I'm there at the same time, very energetic youth. He's holding the office of the member of county assembly. Can we come up with an amendment that says that these offices of the members of the county assembly can only be meant for youths, that is 35 years and below? Is it possible as a nation? So that all the MCA seats within the county levels and the entire nation as a whole, we have the MCA seats only occupied by youths within the age bracket of 18 to 35 years of age. These are youths. By doing this, we'll have a nation more, as just you've said, youths are known to be very aggressive, youths are known to be very innovative, and they're very wise when it comes to matters governance. So when we involve these people in occupying these spaces of leadership, this will bring the issues of now inclusivity. They'll feel part that indeed they're being rewarded in a way. But when you give your opinion, when you give such a brilliant idea, because those guys are there for their own sake, they're tumbocrats, they're there to benefit their own families and stuff, they will never listen to your opinion. They'll never listen to your views. And so youths are never heard. They're very bright, they're very aggressive. Politicians only approach a youth when elections are nearing. They start giving them a handout of 50 bob to shout their name in the street. Whenever there's something that we really feel like as leaders that should be addressed as a nation, that is where we'll now start approaching youths to go on the streets, because we know they have the energy. But thereafter, how are they being rewarded? No. But then if you give your opinions and views on how best can we reward the youths, they'll never listen to you. The response is very disheartening, very heartbreaking, and it's so saddening.
Wow, thank you so much. It's a very tough, decision to make when you're giving an opinion that you're not very comfortable and not very sure of how to address it before people. But generally, leave alone governance, leave alone leadership and other areas, we are having opinions that that goes straight to someone, and you're speaking very straight to someone. It matters dressing, matters their look, their their relationship, their family. There are opinions that kills people. You end up getting stressed. You end up feeling like, hey, I don't belong to this life. What is your view on that? I came to you, I spoke to you, but in the next few minutes you're like a living dead.
Yeah, I think that comes from the aspect of we not also exercising what we call emotional intelligence. Indeed. And social intelligence. Before I address you, I need first of all to read your mood. I need to even go a little further and understand your background, because you cannot just meet somebody and then you start addressing them that your dress is awkward. You don't know where this person is coming from. You don't know the circumstances that have led that person to dress in that manner. So first of all, it's good to understand the background as to why this person is the way they are. Recently, I was just reading an article by Chris Hart. He always publishes some articles, and he was talking about, for example, if you are in a society, in a community, in the workplace, you just don't walk to, let's say, your colleague and you ask, are you married? You don't do that. You need to create an environment that can now lead you to ask such a question, or even them themselves.
Even the relationship itself.
Exactly, just revealing it to you, even without having to ask. And you can always have those leading cues that can prompt somebody to even give you information without having to ask it directly. And then in terms of giving comments to people, also it's very important for you to gauge and weigh and assess the environment in which they're in, and even the mood that person is in. For example, sometimes if somebody addresses me and say, oh, you look very thin, in some circumstances, I will be okay, but in other circumstances, it usually offends me so much. So it's always good to understand which mood, which circumstances is this person in for you before you go ahead and make your opinion. Things to do with the personal comments, those requires a lot of emotional and social intelligence. You just don't go ahead and start speaking. It surely offends so many people, and it can actually break relationships. And actually, most of the time, relationships break because of how we address each other, our opinions about people.
Indeed.
Yeah.
The depths of opinion, of course, depths of opinion, understanding really the impact of opinion. You've spoken very well in regards to the same. Now diving into family, opinions that are coming now from the other. The background is now family. There is a design, a specific design that your family addresses things, that your family speaks. So you think that the society also speaks the same way. You're coming to bring the same opinion, the same idea, the same design of speaking to the society. Is that also an effect? And looking at the family background and where you come from in the touchline of opinion and how you address others as well.
When you're talking now the society, the other time I was seeing someone was saying that marriage solves a lot of problems.
Indeed.
And that is an unpopular opinion. It solves a lot of problems when you're married. For those who are not married, they may not understand. And for me, I encourage people to get married because it will solve your a number of problems. Because at times you find yourself in a very lonely situation where you have no one to story with. But a happily married couple will always be, most of them will always have a joyous family. So when we now looking at the societal way of it, how the setup from the family, it also depends on how you are raised. People are raised in different backgrounds. People are raised from different families. Some are rich, some are middle, rich. Some of them are, sorry to say, but from a lower background. So how best, or how can we give our opinions? How does opinion now comes in when it comes to that structure?
Indeed.
particularly, I'm a product of, proudly saying, I'm a product of a single mother. There are things that I'll never wish to tell my mother, that I'll also wish that if my father was there, I could have told him, you know. So how you were raised, the structure that you go to when you're born matters a lot when you're giving your opinion, because we know that mothers, there are certain things that they can't handle, but for your father they can. There's certain strong things that when you mention to your mother, she'll feel heartbroken and stressed, but that those things that when you mention to your dad, he'll feel it's normal to him. So now the structure and the families matters, and now that comes to us particularly as the generation of today. We need to understand our background, we need to understand our society, we need to understand how they run, so that whenever we're giving our opinion, it doesn't contradict the convenient the convenient status quo of the society. So it takes you to understand your family, it takes you to understand your society, it takes you time to understand even your surrounding and your governance as a whole before you start airing and giving out your opinions.
Excellent. Talk to us about relationship when you umewachwa, but you now want to give hata aende to there is you just boldly say that hata hakuwa ameweza. That is becoming an opinion that in one way it would have made or built your relationship or might destroy. There are young people here that are watching this live, and the feeling that in one way or the other they will have built their relationship through their opinion and what they say, that utilizing the eyes of the beholder. Maybe this was not the beholder this time, so the opinion now counts in regards to the relationship that they have. Do you think this is one of the reasons that is breaking also young relationships and marriages as well, as Generali had mentioned earlier?
To some extent, yes. And to another extent, I think it's just about somebody's own decision. I think relationships are good when entered into with the right motive. It's all about the motive. Indeed. Relationships is always a give and take. So if one party is giving too much and the other one is just receiving, of course there is a weakness. Indeed. to some level, and when that weakness creeps in, of course it's gonna break at some point. Right. So the right motive has to be there before people decide to enter into a relationship. Another thing is that in a relationship you also need to sacrifice a lot, and it is through these sacrifices that makes you a better human being. Because if you are just there for you to be able to receive, you find that at the end of the day, the other party feels fatigued. So that is why you'll find that somebody might opt to leave. And for me, my unpopular opinion is that in a relationship, once you enter a relationship, there should be no breaking.
So when she's talking on that, I'm saying that and it's very obvious to everybody. We've heard of news. We've seen with our eyes. We've heard stories. We've read. We've heard of the news of couples of young ages. You're seeing that CG or so and so was stabbed to death simply because they had an argument or something like that. When you want to insist that you don't break up, however how much it is not working, then it's like you're forcing things, and then this results to this. Murder and committing suicide in young people engaging themselves in relationship. So if it's not working out, you better walk out. There's no need to force out things. If you see it's not working out, respectfully walk out. Na ukishaachwa pia ufanye nini? Uachike. Mambo na kusema mara sijui hakuwa ameweza, that is now you're not speaking in pain, You just exit the relationship. Someone you've been with for quite some time. You've struggled with them together. And then all of a sudden, because of a simple argument that you guys are now, you've parted your ways, you now want to expose their weaknesses and their strengths. You now want to to make it known to the public that this guy was, he was not smart enough, he was not good in so and so. I don't want to mention the specific place he was good in, So if it's never working out, I'll advisely, when a sober mind, you just peacefully walk out of the
and he's saying that there's no breakup. What's your argument? Let it come, May. There's no breakup.
If it's not working, you just walk out.
This is the foundation on which I'm basing my argument on, is that the mistake we do is that we are so superficial.
Indeed.
I want to get in a relationship, I'm into it. No, if I take my time to know myself, to understand myself, then I go out there and look for somebody who we share the same values. And the foundation in a relationship is having shared values. Those, for example, saying that I will never steal or be corrupt for me if I want to be rich. But I will work hard for me to achieve the material things that I want to achieve. If I get somebody who also has the same values, then these other things we can always compromise. Why people actually fight is because I said the motive. If you enter a relationship with the wrong motive, it will never last. If you enter there and you are very selfish, it will never last. But if you enter there, you have the right motive, you're willing to sacrifice, you have the same values, then you'll find that the small things that people fight about and then they break up, those things you will have a way of how to address them. You'll have a way on how to complement each other, and you'll come out of that. So you'll never even move to that point where you think about breaking up or even stabbing or killing one another.
There is a design that we're speaking on workplace when it comes now to collaboration and getting to understand how should I approach my workmate. The voice that I use, the tone that I use, how does, even as we get to that conversation as well, there is a design that you speak and give an opinion that hurts your workmate. So what is your opinion, either popular or unpopular, in regards to the environment on workplaces?
Well, also workplaces is not just about work and delivery, it's about relationships.
Indeed.
And if you bring a good relationship at the workplace, you find that you are able to achieve more as a team, as an institution, or as a company. So it calls for each one of us to treat each other as human. The most important thing is for us to know we are all human. Humans, we have emotions, we have our highs and lows, we have our own feelings. So we need to ensure that we are addressing an individual, a workmate, a colleague as a human being. And then we need to be human while at it. It's not just about a matter of giving orders, commanding people to do things. It's about the approach.
How do you command people then?
It's not a matter of commanding people. You don't command people. There is a way you can lead people silently, but you find that people are following you. And the best way for you to actually lead people is by example. Because people, most of the time we speak, but people don't, they listen, but they don't follow what we talk about. They always follow what we do. So as if you want the respect and collaboration from your colleagues, also show initiative, show you're somebody who is dependable, show that you are somebody who respects your other colleagues. So that at the end of the day, when you even have an opinion, when you finally express the opinion, you express it in a manner that helps the team to actually buy into that opinion.
Indeed.
But if you're always commanding, when it's time for you to collaborate, you're not there, you're not supporting your team members, then it becomes very difficult for your colleagues to come on board and support your ideas.
An opinion is given to a workmate from maybe the boss or the supervisor.
We are at a workplace, we are specialized in different professions, right? And I just want to make it in a simpler way, where we are in different positions in office, and your colleague comes and tells you that you never performed this well, and if you feel like you don't want to do it, you better leave. You'll obviously feel hurt.
Indeed.
So even in our places of work, even in whatever we are doing that earns us a living, we have different professionals. We have people who are qualified to do that job. So the moment you go to somebody and mention such a thing to them, it will probably not be something good on their side. And so workmates, or rather people who are working in a company or in an organization, in a corporate organization, we should also see on how best can we give opinions to our managers, to our supervisors, and even to our colleague, employees, so that nobody feel diminished. Nobody's opinion, they'll never feel like they're diminished in a way. They never feel like the opinions doesn't matter in the running and the operation of that corporate organization. So members of workmates or other people working together in an organization should also see on a way on how to respectfully air their grievances, give out their opinions on everything that is running out in that organization. If you want your salary to be increased, you respectfully raise it to your employer. Umwambie mkubwa, si tumefanya kazi vizuri, we have seen our organization is being well marketed, it is getting bigger. Now it's time to also reward us. But the moment you want to start influencing your colleague employees to against each other simply to get whatever you want, it will never work that way. So even workmates and employees also, we should also come up with respectfully give our grievances and our opinions in everything, either be it the running of the organization, everything within the corporate organization.
Indeed, we go back to balance in understanding the hierarchy as well. There is a design that, of course, the supervisor can speak, and the lowest subordinates can speak in the same. What is the taste of command when it comes to the others that are speaking, and indeed, of course, the others that are the supervisors that are speaking? So indeed, what's the real understanding in ensuring that there is a respect in terms of all that we are conversing about?
Okay. In regards to respect to at the workplace, and even in other spheres of our lives, it's all about how that person also presents themselves. Because, as I stated earlier, if I respect myself, when I speak, others will just automatically respect me.
Right.
But if I don't respect myself, and how do we not respect ourselves? For example, if I am a leader and I am the one who always gets to the office late, I am the one who doesn't meet the targets. So how do I command, maybe my subordinates to be able now to bring in the results? If I myself as a leader am unable to bring in the results.
Indeed.
So I need to lead. And as I mentioned, it's all about what we do.
Indeed.
When we do the right thing, others automatically just do the right thing.
Right.
And we don't need to have a commanding authority in any spheres of our lives. It's about an agreement. And human beings, everything we do has to be like a partnership. For me, I believe at the workplace, all employees are partners and are equal. Whether you are the CEO, whether you are a manager, or you are just an intern, all of you are equal. Why? Because when you look at them in production, every single step and process, it's very critical for you to eventually develop that product or service.
Right.
So whether it's somebody who is just moving a box from here to point A to point B, and then there is somebody who packages that now box, maybe loads it to a lorry. All these people are critical. The supervisor who is guiding these people is also critical in that. So these people, they need to work as a team, and they need to be to also approach matters as partners, so that there is no superior or an inferior member in that value chain.
I wish everyone would understand that, because to just help us live in a very pleasant environment, of course, in workplaces and every environment, of course. Now, not also to family as well, that it comes at a point where father's opinion does not matter, or mom's opinion doesn't matter. You feel like you are the big boy now, your opinion really matters. But we are just about to take a break, but I really want to listen to this. What is the biggest opinion that you've ever said and started wondering, what did I say?
Ooh, okay.
You ever said something and you feel, wow, I wish I didn't say that.
For me, it's normal. I've never felt like I've said something strange. Like when I always tell people that I died the same day I was born. That is my opinion, and they find it strange. They don't understand how. Why am I not a coward? I died the same day I was born.
So you've never said something that you felt like, wow.
I've said them severally until I felt like kwani leo nimechoma. And everybody was looking at me, but then I stood and said, at the end of the day, that's my opinion. It's an open talk. I don't regret.
All right. What about you, Ad?
Okay, so for me, most of the time before I say something, I usually think about it.
Indeed.
I do the assessment and I actually become at peace before I say whatever opinion I have. So I really don't think I've ever had that moment where I feel like I'm questioning myself, why did I ever say that or do that? Even when I was writing my book, I know that there's so many things that I've said in that book, and before I actually wrote it, it was in my head, and I actually went through over and over, asking myself, do I really want to say this?
That's right.
And yes, and when I became at peace with myself that yes, I want to say it, I said it. So I don't think I have ever reached a point whereby I'm questioning an opinion I've shared, because most of the time I usually do an assessment. I usually ensure that whatever I'm going to say, I can back it up with the good evidence, so that nobody can come back to me and question.
And question it.
Yes.
Well, that's really tough, you know, because you're not even sure what you're going to speak before people, but yet aggressively you stand on stage and start speaking. Then after then you start regretting, why did I even just spoke those words? We of course having this challenge in preparation and understanding the mindset of preparation to opinions and what am I supposed to speak. Of course, as Generali had mentioned, that every word that he ever said was really on the right directions, you know. And of course, understanding just clearly the aspect of opinion and the preparation to that. We are having so many things that are coming on board. If you look at matters, jobs and employment, that we're shaping that conversation, because already we have understood the value, the reasons, the impacts, the importance of opinions and how they matter to everything. So diving into matters education, you've seen all the processes happening in the country, and you've seen JSS, of course, teachers strike. You've seen the balance in the Ministry of Education. If I give you an opportunity, let's start with Anne. What is your take on education in the country? And there is a conversation also that we had that I am going to school, I am studying, then there is no employment. Now, do you think that education is a must?
To me, education is like the oxygen we breathe. Why I'm saying that, it's because education is an opportunity for us to get our access, knowledge and information. Yes, education is a must. What I would like to communicate is that as much as education is a must, it is very critical. It's like the air we breathe. It shouldn't be the formal education that we know of. Indeed. Or we have been going through. Education can be accessed from anywhere, especially even right now with the advent of technology. Education, you don't actually need to sit in a class, learn for 4 or 12 or 16 years for you to be able to access that knowledge. You can easily go read a book, you can easily go even to social platforms, and you can learn a lot. And if you can implement, now you are somebody who has accessed education. Education is not just a matter of going to class to read, pass, get a job. And that is where we all go wrong. Education, it is for it to open our minds and start asking, this information I have now gained, how can I use it? How can I use it for the benefit of myself and the community? Indeed. And it is through asking that question you'll find that we'll not be sitting and saying that I've gone to school, I've passed my exams, but I cannot get a job. That is wrong. Anybody who has gone to school, has passed exam, should not be walking around saying that I don't have a job.
Ah.
The question should be, this information I have,
All right.
how do I convert it into
Opportunity.
into opportunity? Exactly. And if we start asking that question, you find that not many people will be jobless because there's thousands of problems in the world that require solving. But we don't have people who want to solve. They want to go to a company that is already solving another problem. Why do you want to do that? Or else we have 1,000 other opportunities out here that are very, very green. So it's about the mind shift. It's let me access education, but let me convert the knowledge into an opportunity.
I wish
That
everyone
is how-
could be thinking like Anne, and we'll have so many opportunities coming along, right? You know, there is a basic aspect that we pick from education and getting opportunity, and you know, shaping it to a real opportunity. But generally, if you look at the position we are in, so many people are educated, so many people have papers, but they don't have jobs. You know, is it that they don't know how to shape these opportunities, and of course to understand the real idea in shaping what you learned, now bringing it to real life?
For me, education in our country is losing value and essence. People have papers, but they lack the skills.
Indeed.
Skills is everything. Most of the generation, they only work for the papers. You only want to get that your degree, you only want to get that your diploma or master's or PhD. But on top of it, do you have a skill to now do that particular course that you qualified to get that certificate? Do you have the skill? So most of our young people, our young youths who are unemployed out there, what we are lacking is the skill. We have the papers yet. Everybody's having the papers. We have 1,000 Kenyans out there who have graduated from different universities, have graduated from different colleges and higher institutions of higher learning.
Right.
But at the same time, they lack jobs. Why? Because they lack the skills.
Indeed, hold it there,
Skills matters a
General
lot.
Phase. And of course, we are just in time for the morning drift. Remember, this is a conversation that is the unpopular or popular, you know, as far as the all-rounded conversation is concerned in terms of opinion making, and you coming out broadly to speak and saying that this is what I wanted to say before people. Now, this is the depths of opinion. We are taking a breather, and we'll be right back for some details on Opinion Matters.
Assalamu alaikum. Siku ya leo tuko katika kaunti ya Kwale. Takriban watu 800 leo watapokea usaidizi wetu kwa hisani ya RUTO Foundation. Kwa hivyo ambatana na mimi siku ya leo tuone hali vipi.
Iko mbaya sana baba, iko mbaya, hali iko mbaya, njaa tu. Tunashukuru kwa grupu ya Tuliani Kayamba.
Nashukuru kupata msaada kidogo, unaweza kunisaidia kidogo.
Waizidi na imani hiyo hiyo.
Asante sana kwa RUTO, manake imebadilisha maisha, imetugusia maisha yetu, na leo tunalala watu tofauti.
Na wanekasheni, nashukuru na Mungu akubarikieni.
As long as we go with that theme that ukicheza kila mtu ni mshindi, we will also continue to support.
Kwanza nawafurahikia sana, nataka tena wakija wanikumbuke mimi mzee wao.
Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed the life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
ungana na mimi nikufundishe kuhusu ufugaji ama kuweka mbuzi wa maziwa.
Hauhitaji utafute kichaka ya kwenda kulisha mbuzi, utafute mtu wa kulisha. Unahitaji tu hiyo space yako kidogo uutilize vizuri katika zero grazing unit. Mbuzi anakula chakula kilicho kidogo sana ukikompea na ng'ombe ambao tunawafuga katika maboma zetu.
Nionyeshe mbuzi wa maziwa.
Mbuzi wa maziwa ni hawa wote vile unavyowaona.
Hii mapembe ndio mbuzi wa maziwa.
Na wacha nikwambie, nimeshangaa sana leo. Fura umeingia tu hivi pap na mbuzi wangu wamezaa. Pia kuna wale watu wako na shinda zao za mwili, kuna wale wa pressure na magonjwa mbalimbali katika mwili. Unahitaji kukunywa maziwa ya mbuzi ndio ikaweze kukusaidia na kuongeza immunity yako ikuje juu.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
Welcome back. It's it's a lovely morning to give opinions, and the best thing you can say is good morning, how are you? Remember to give us your insight on the depths of opinion, both the popular and the unpopular, right here on the Morning Drift. Keep the hashtag the Morning Drift. If you like, also you can hashtag the depths of opinion right here. I am joined in by Ann Kitilesi and of course General Vini, who are shaping for us the conversation on opinion. Remember, your opinion matters. And before we went for a break, I had mentioned something on education, but allow us to also ask the question on, is it a must that I should go to school? And yes, I have the skills, I have everything, I'm very okay, but is it a must for me to go to school so that I can get these particular opportunities? And there are many opportunities that you get denied because you haven't gone to school, but indeed the skill is very fine. I'd like to start with Vinny to shape for us that particular area. Is it a must? So many youths are crying out there, they need job, they need opportunity, but digging down deeper, we tend to understand that they don't have, the point of, education and other things. Do you think that it is a must for a youth or any other person to go to school so that can receive these opportunities?
The problem with our current education system is that it focuses so much on memorization of information rather than providing the learner with some skills that are necessary. We focus so much on how to, what you need to do is just to get that knowledge, but then are there skills there? So we really need to, for me, I'd say with the current, the world is going technological. I'm particularly still in, I'm in my university yet, and I'm doing my degree, but is it going to be of essence to the coming generations to follow my suit? What we are having, the new education system that we are now having, the teachers, the junior secondary school teachers are actually on strike because they feel like they're not of value. The government doesn't recognize their work, and they've gone through the same training just like other teachers. What the current education system that we're having, the junior secondary schools, I really support it because it provides the learner with the necessary skills, not only to memorize the information and everything, but it also provides the learner with the particular skills, in the sense that after you're done with your junior secondary school, you need to join, you need to proceed to another level. But before then, you'll will be you'll have some skills. I particularly have a brother who is in the junior secondary schools, but that kid can make something until ujiulize how did he did this, and that is that is what you want, and that is how it should be. So let us not just focus on you know, how to memorize, you know, information. You just want to give them that knowledge. Let us accompany skills into that. And the world is going technological. We're having people doing we're having the online platforms. We're having young youths engaging on the forex stuffs. We're having people doing the online writing. There are skills that can be acquired by the you know, we can accompany them in our degree, so that it adds value in our degree. So that after tumemaliza shule, we don't complain or, you know, start saying that there are no jobs in the country. Just like Anne said, that there are opportunities, there are problems that need to be solved, and the only right persons to solve that are these people in these people holding these certificates. But the problem is they cannot solve it. Why? Because they lack the necessary skills. So let us accompany skills in our education system.
Wow. Skills, and that is why the competence-based curriculum is coming on board, right? But Anne, do you think there is an unpopular opinion in terms of how we view education in the country?
Yes, I think for us, we have moved to a level whereby we take everything that is brought to us, and this comes from the aspect of our education system. Majorly is something that was developed based on what is happening globally. We were supposed to sit back as Kenyans and also as Africans and ask ourselves, how did we used to pass information from one generation to the other? And how that was done, information was passed on by people who are well informed in the society. They may not have had formal training the way we have our teachers formally trained to provide supervision in schools, but they used to pass that information. What we never did is that people never documented our information. So all our traditional information, we have gotten it, it is lost. So when you look at our textbooks, most of the examples you'll find in these textbooks, they are of inventors, scientists from other continents. Really, does that mean that we never had breathtaking inventions in Africa? Yes, we did. It's just that this information has been forgotten, and we tend to look so much outwardly rather than looking inside on what we have. In terms of skills, for me, I believe that a good education system should not just be theoretical, whereby it's just teaching and people have the papers. It's about also the skills and teaching people to be able to think outside the box, so that it's not just a matter of getting a job. It's a matter of how do I start solving these challenges. And when we adapt that approach of, even if it is grade 1, what are those small problems that children can solve at that level? Then you enable the children, you give them the resources that they need to be able to solve those challenges. Grade 2, all the way to even grade 9, let's ensure that we are creating, we are exposing students to scenarios that create problems, and then we allow them to solve. That is the only way. When they complete their school, they will look at the world and they will look at what are those challenges that are there that we need to solve. Because I always say that we, as human beings, we were born to live a good life. All of us. Indeed. We need to live a good life. There is no point of some people living in slums, some people struggling to put bread on the table, where else others are making it. So that shows that we have a lot of opportunities to bring everybody on board, so that everybody is able to have that bread on the table without having to struggle so hard.
Do you think will there be respect in between as far as balance is concerned, where everyone now is able to, you know, to get to that point?
Yes. And for me, I strongly believe it is possible for us to get to that point. I know things are moving at a very slow pace, but right now things are really moving faster when it comes to acquiring and getting results out of anything. And it just requires a mindset and a focus to ensuring that whatever opportunities that I'm gonna create, it is something that is gonna benefit everybody. It is possible because most of the time we've been told resources are scarce. Resources are not scarce. It's only that a few people want to have all these resources and leaving the rest with nothing.
Indeed.
Right now, when you look at the statistics, between 1 to 10% of the world's population is the one that is owning 90% of the world's wealth. What does that mean? It means that we only have now 10% to be owned by the 90% of the population. So that is where some of these challenges are actually coming from. But if it is about everybody else, everybody right now could be living in a decent home, everybody could be accessing clean water and sanitation, everybody could be accessing education free of charge. And actually that is where my unpopular opinion is.
How?
Education should be free of charge. From basic education all the way to at least your first diploma, your first certificate, or your first degree. Why do I say that? It's because when you empower a human being with knowledge and then you guide them on how to convert that knowledge into an opportunity, giving them the right skill set, this person will not just hold back and say there are no jobs. They will look for something to do and create something, a product, a service that they can sell in the society. And that is how we can build each other. But we are unable to solve poverty because we have commoditized education.
Indeed.
Anybody who has money can access education. But those who do not have money, what happens to them?
Stay at home.
They stay at home. And surprisingly, they are the majority. And they're the ones who they are easily manipulated. When a politician calls for, their campaign rallies, it's easier for them to go and attend. But if you are gainfully employed, tell me where you're going to get time to go and attend that. Just look at the people who attend. They are the jobless people. Anytime you look at people who actually go on the streets to, support politicians and demonstration, you find that these people are jobless. But if these people who are gainfully employed somewhere else, they will be adding productivity into the economy. And that is where we go. We are losing it. We cannot end poverty if we are not opening the doors to education. If we are not giving the right skill sets to our students to be able now to turn that information or knowledge into opportunities. So that is my unpopular opinion. Education needs to be free. And it has a lot of benefit to our society than even trying to, for example, build roads for people.
Indeed.
If you let them access education, they will be the ones who will be building those roads. They will be the ones knowing where do we get the resources to build the roads. So we will not even struggle too much trying to build infrastructure, trying to solve, healthcare challenges. Right now, if you are gainfully employed, you can access healthcare. You can build your own home. We will not even be talking about national housing. It will be something that everybody can afford. So it is important for us to ensure that education is free so that everybody has the skill sets to be able to create opportunities for themselves and solve the challenges that are facing humanity. And that is the only way we will be able to solve poverty in the country, so that we remove this cyclical and exploitation of the jobless.
Very powerful. Of course, General is looking at you in a design, of course, thinking of how much he's spent on his career and degree as well. I don't know, is the same view education should be decommoditized?
When Anne is talking of free education, it's funny in a way, at the same time it's painful, because the real situation that is happening is that we don't have any free education. Instead, it's even getting more expensive. Let me just take a scenario. When I joined campus, I used to pay a particular amount, ranging. It wasn't more than 20,000 for my career. For a semester, it was around 20K, in that range. But now, when in my second year, in my third year, there's some students, or there's some lots who joined later. And now, when I was asking them, please provide me their fee structure, the figures that I saw was so I couldn't imagine that that is the real figures. A student is required to pay almost 120,000 for your fee. Will a common mwananchi afford the free education? Now, are we really going to? Are we going to to make the education free, or we are getting the situation worse? Is it, are we going to de-economize it, or it is getting worse daily? Because if I used to pay 17,000 for my fee, and now there's a student who is required to pay almost 120,000, where are we headed as a nation? If instead of lying to us in the public medias and everybody, talking of the free education, even if you go to different institutions, and this is the situation, you people, the media, you can do that as well. You can go and ask the different institutions how much they provide you their fee structure. This is something that a normal parent will never. Yule mwananchi ambaye kukule nyumbani kazi yake ni kulima, the focus is on farming. They can never afford this amount of fees. Kuna mtu ambaye kwa nyumbani, he has a kid who has excelled to join an institution of higher learning.
Indeed.
But when you provided the fee structure, the figures are very heartbreaking. You cannot afford to pay your 120,000. Instead of taking that 120,000, give your son anzishe biashara, endeleze maisha. So what's the essence of education?
I feel like people are suffering.
They're suffering. And I don't see the essence of, for me particularly, I'd advise, and I'll stand with the essence. It is losing value in our nation, and that is the truth. People are graduating with no jobs, and you spend your 4 years in campus, you spend your 4 years in high school, 8 years in that was the A44 by then, and then after graduating you start tarmacking. There are no jobs there.
Because I'm thinking of how the institutions will survive if the education is free, but I believe you had a comment on this?
Yes, the reason why I'm advocating for free education, it's because, as generally has just mentioned, you find that we have very bright students who could be the ones that are coming up with a solution. For example, they will be able to start manufacturing, let's say, drugs, so that we don't continuously import drugs from India. So because this parent cannot afford, that kid is given an alternative which will not probably allow that kid to become, a pharmacist or somebody who can innovate something that can really help the society. But look at it this way. I'm going to give you an example how education can be funded. When I was in throughout my schooling journey, I don't think I spent more than $1 million shillings. This is from when I started schooling all the way to campus.
From baby class? From
baby class, all the way to campus. I've been trying to look at the exact figure, but I know it doesn't go above 1 million Kenya shillings. Now, when I started working, my taxes, the first year, it was $500,000.
$500,000.
The second year, another $500,000.
2 million.
2 million. So imagine, in just 2 years, if the government had paid my school fees, that 1 million for me to go through school so that my parents do not have to pay anything. In just 2 years, they will already have taxed me. And then, remember, I will be working for example, my 34 years or plus.
You're right.
Can you imagine the amount of tax the government can collect from me just because they allowed me to have that free education? So you can imagine if the 20 million of maybe young people who cannot access education are given that opportunity. We pay for their school fees, and then we give them the correct training, which we said it has to be skill-based, and then the education or knowledge that ensures it empowers somebody to be able to not just sit there and wait and complain there are no jobs, but somebody thinks critically, what can I do using this knowledge to create a good or a service that is going to address the problems in our society.
Indeed.
If we get to that level, can you imagine we'll not have to increase the taxes right now because we will have scaled up our tax base, because everybody will be paying taxes.
You're right.
And just in matter of maybe 1 to 5 years, whatever the government has invested in these people, it's going to recoup it in 5 years, and then the rest of the time they'll be working, it is just taxes to do what? Development. So that is how, for me, I think education can be free and it can be funded, and there is a lot for everybody to gain. In fact, if the government can just provide quality education, I'm telling you that we are going to solve most of the challenges that we're facing today.
Of course, and I have no problem, because to believe that you taking the ship on a sustainability consultant. You know, of course, the president will have to listen to these opinions from Ankitelesi. They're really impactful on the same. And even as we measure this conversation, education free, what are the aspects of education? What is your opinion on education? So many people are learned, but they don't have jobs, and that's a crisis in the country. But I think we've covered so much on the structure of employment as far as education is concerned. But I want us to shift gears on now the effect on religion as to our opinion. There is a concern, of course, we are used as slaves in church, and religion is becoming a room for, you know, kutafuta pesa. When we listen to this particular conversation on religion, I don't want to feel our idea and our feeling on religion. Are we bounded in slavery? What do you think?
Okay, I think I will go first.
All right.
I also have very strong opinions around religion. Personally, I'm a Catholic, so I'm a Christian. But when I try to look at how religion works, to me, to my understanding, is that religion is there, it's actually dividing us more than it should bring us together. Because when you look at the different religions, we're praying to almost the same God, it's just that we have different names for this God. So if it is the same God, how come we are divided? We have different doctrines, different ways on how we perceive and believe things. And to me, I will rather have people moving to spirituality than religion.
Indeed.
Why spirituality? It's very universal. It makes me not to look at you as a person from another religion, or it doesn't make me even exploit you or use religion as an opportunity to either enrich a few people or enrich myself.
Indeed.
It is spirituality is whereby you are in harmony with everyone and everything. You're in harmony with human beings, in harmony with the animals, you're in harmony with the vegetation, the environment, and everything else. And that is, I think, where God wants us to be. Being harmony, being one, in unity with each and everything. And then religion should actually help people to attain their own mandates in life. It should not be something that is used to maybe extort or get resources from people. When you look at how we even give, or how we are usually compelled to give in different churches, you find that there is always that push. Give so that you can receive a miracle. Give so that you will be blessed.
There's so many people that are giving are not wealthy enough, are not the poor.
Exactly. And when you look at the people who are being asked to give, of course, they're the ones they don't have anything. And then the ones who are given, they're the ones that stay in places like Karen. They're the ones that are driving the large, huge vehicles. They're the ones that stay in good houses. So that beats the logic. Why do we have a religion whereby this religion is exploiting those who do not have, rather than taking from those who have to support those who do not have?
Indeed. In exploitation, of course, you have the aspect on you receive the faith, I receive the wealth, then we move forward. No, I just wanted to listen to what Vinny has to say, because when we started the conversation, we had a point on there's so many people that are suffering, and generally a view is taken. There's so many people that are suffering have based their their opinions, and they are directed into the faith and in the churches. So you realize that the same way Anna's mentioned, that there's someone living in Runda and there's someone living in Sokomoko. But now to get to the point of understanding that this person is in-depthly into religion and into a particular faith, that maybe the bishop is saying that you don't need to work, serve Jesus and then move forward.
That never works. I want to relate religion to work. Some people wake up on a daily basis from Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to around 4 p.m. working. And then they, in their 30 to 40 years of work, they end up retiring. But you know what? Not everybody is hyper-ambitious Silicon Valley trailblazer. Not everyone will do that, you know. So when you want to relate religion, nowadays we use religion as a form. It's an employment opportunity. When you are a bishop and you're a pastor who can really, you have some sweet words to, you know, to easily talk to your members, and they easily get, you know, perceived by your words. You'll find yourself earning. And people are nowadays using religion as a form of getting money. So it's even lacking essence at the same time. So for me, Anne said that we should be more spiritual than being religious. It's almost the same thing, you know, because a pastor will tell you that serve God and don't go to work. Will that bring food on the table? God helps those who help themselves. So if I worship to God, and I also pray to God as well, if I worship in the morning, afternoon and evening, how will I get my food on the table? How?
Hey, very tough, yes.
So just to maybe bring out another perspective around that, is that worshiping God is paramount, and it's important, it's critical, and you can worship God every second, even right now. Right. If you want, you can talk. I can say something to God even silently. So what I think we need to move away from is the belief that just prayers alone are gonna give us the miracles that people want in their lives. It's about also putting in the work. Pray in the morning, leave your house, go out there and work hard. Do your best to ensure that you are going to get a reward out of it. But in the process of you working, ensure that God is in everything that you're doing. Why? Because if I don't put God in whatever I do, I'm the first person when I reach the office, I'm going to start stressing everybody else. I'm the person who will start asking for kickbacks for me just to approve or sign something. But if God is in everything, then it means that when I need to make a decision, I refer to what? That manuscript. Indeed. What does God say? Indeed. I need to serve people. I am in this position to serve. So let me do my work. I don't need to be given a kickback for me to do my service. And you say, why I say spirituality, it's because spirituality is boundarless. It's borderless. So you find that I'm not... Religion, most of the time people believe it's about going to church, going to the mosque, or going to worship, and then they forget everything once they leave that door. But spirituality carries with you. It is borderless. When I go to work, I still have my God in it. Right. When I go to the farm, when I go to the market, when I go to school, I still have God in me. So all the actions I will be taking throughout the day, they are informed by the Spirit of God.
All right, thank you, Anne. Health and life. There is a position where you visit a hospital or you go to check on someone, then you start uttering words that are piercing, you know, that hata heri tumwache tu akufe because the bill is getting too big. What is your opinion as far as health is concerned, when you also realize when you go to a particular place where there is a funeral, then you need to be very careful on how, not only giving your opinion, but also on how you respond to things, your reactions, you know, your behavior as well. What is your take on the same, even as we get now to understand the popular and the unpopular to the bottom line of this conversation?
Relating health with opinions for me is a no. And this is something that, you know, when you're talking of health, it's never unpredictable. Now, when you go to an hospital and someone was, for instance, by bad luck, was engaged in an accident, and you want to go there, and the bill is almost, you know, multiplying your salary by 10. You don't know where you will get this thing, and you're just someone who is in town, you know, hustling by your own means. Alafu unaenda kule unaambiwa you need to pay a bill of 800,000 or 1 million, you know, and then you start questioning yourself. See, we better just leave this guy to live in peace, you know. So I don't really want to relate health with opinions. That is something that health is. It also an individual. You know, there are certain things that can be prevented, but there are certain things that we can never avoid. You know, so there are certain things that as people and as a nation and as citizens we can avoid them, but at the same time there are things that are unpredictable. They come anytime without any notice, and they haunt us, you know, without any notice. We can never avoid such. So for me, when I want to relate health with my opinion, that I leave to the individuals, you know, and you just take care of yourself, and you mind yourself as well.
Si nilijua tunayo tabia yake, he couldn't have survived. Hata ni vizuri he is dead. What do you think about that?
Yeah, so I think that are comments that lose human touch, because you know, health is part of living. If you are alive, then you are healthy.
Indeed,
you are good. If you are alive and then you are not healthy, again, that is also a problem. And so the two are interrelated. So when you're talking about somebody's health, you're actually talking about the life of that person.
Indeed.
And at times, it could be very frustrating to hear people make comments that actually kill the person, because when they hear about such a comment or such an opinion, yeah, they actually give up. And something about we human beings is that whatever we perceive usually actually becomes true.
Indeed.
So if somebody speaks to you negative words, they are going to actually kill you. Even if you are not suffering too much, you are not, your health condition was good, you find that it actually deteriorates, and you'll find that such a person will just even pass away.
Indeed.
But if you encourage this person and you give them you know, good affirmation, you find that even somebody who was critically sick, they actually recover. And so also it's a matter of health is also spiritual in a way, because it's something that is actually controlled by God.
Indeed.
That is why somebody can go to the hospital, they were critically sick, but they recover. Everybody said this person is gonna die. Huyo hatuoni, ni hata hatuoni kama hatujampatia siku mbili, hata tuachane na yeye. But what happens after those 3 days? This person recuperates, they survive, and they become, you know, a living example of this kind of miracles. So you cannot have opinions that actually diminish the value of a human being, especially when they need to be encouraged the most, and that is when you are, you know, when somebody is sick. Yeah.
All right. Do you think that the dumb can give opinions? Do you think?
Yes, opinion. The nobody is limited to give the opinions. They can as well give the opinions on everything. They can as well make us understand what they want, and they can as well communicate their grievances out. So they can. Yes.
Wow. What is your view on the same? Do you think the dumb can give opinions?
Who is a dumb person? So this is what I believe. All of us, there is something that we have that can actually add value. Even the mad person you will see on the street, there is something you can learn from that person.
Indeed.
If you see most of the mad people who walk around, they're always walking picking water bottles, you know, plastic and everything. What are they doing, by the way? That is the question I always ask myself.
Indeed.
Why are they picking this waste and they put it in a sack and they carry it? Probably they're communicating to us who think we are normal. They're telling us, you people, you are sick, because you say you are normal, yet you are I'm the one who is going to roll down the window of the car and throw a bottle. I am normal, but yet I'm the one who's going to throw away the banana peels on the street.
You're
so
right.
for me, I think there is always an opportunity to learn from each one. A child or an old person, a mad person or a straight normal person, and I don't think there is a dumb person. There is always some value in every human being, and we can learn a lot from this kind of people that we might say they're dumb.
All right, everyone can give opinion, everyone is able to speak, but the span of that particular opinion matters a lot, and that is why we are engaging now a sustainability point of view, where how long will we hold what you said maybe 5 years ago or just a few minutes ago? How long can we hold that? If it was piercing, if it was very appeasing, if it was normal, how long can we hold that on the sustainability, even as we dig now deeper to depth of opinion? What do you think, Sir Generali? Do you think that we can hold too long long opinions that are piercing, or we can hold too long opinions that are very very nice to us?
It depends with the response that you get when you give your opinion. You know, the first response that you, when for me, when as a student leader, when I give my opinion to my DVC, to my VC, to my Dean of Students, or to the Ministry of Education, their first response matters a lot. Now, when I want to also, that was my first opinion. The response that they'll give to me matters a lot on the second opinion that I'll give out. So when you give out your opinion and you find the response is, you know, it is not good, you'll obviously keep the other one. So our responses to our agencies, and not even the agencies or anybody or anything, be it a workplace, be it our institutions of you know, places of work, institutions of learning, anywhere that we give our opinions, the responses matters a lot on the individual, so that they'll keep the opinions to themselves. Because a friend of mine said that I don't want to be there, it will sound so bad, but opinions are it's something that you also hold it by it on you. You decide whether you want to give it out or you keep it to yourself. When you want to keep it to yourself, well and good. When you want to make your grievances and your opinions well known, it's still okay with you. So the first response that you get when you give out your opinion matters a lot, whether you'll keep the second you know, the second opinion or a number of opinions that you had in mind. So to anybody or to our institutions or to our leaders, you know, places of work, our employers, how they respond to the employees and how they respond to the, you know, to us who have the opinions matters a lot. For us to get the services improved in any sector, be it in sector of governance, be it in places of work, anywhere, the response matters a lot to people who give out opinions.
Well stated, generally. Thank you so much. And I want to understand now the sustainability part, of course, even as you help us understand climate change, which has been a focus in the country. And of course, we've seen the effect of climate change. In the next few minutes, we will be completing this particular session. But help us understand the point on the sustainability in terms of opinion. But also, before you get to that, give us an understanding on climate change as well as the focus on the unpopular opinion.
Okay, if you allow me, I will start with the first, with the first area, just to look at the sustainability of our opinions. To me, I believe, as I had even stated earlier, before you say something, do an assessment.
Indeed.
Does this hold true? Am I convinced at my personal level? Now, if I am convinced, let me look at the circle of my network. Let me share with them that opinion. Will it hold? Do they believe in it? If they do, then you can move on to the next level. But the most important is having your self-conviction. Right now, let me give you a very valid example. Right now, we are here enjoying these slides because there is somebody who had an unpopular opinion at that time. When people were just inventing electricity. Electricity used to be direct current, DC electricity. And that is what Thomas Edison was selling and promoting. And even the people who were financing electricity at that time, they just wanted to finance DC current. But now we have a man who thinks this is now somebody who comes up and says, no, we can actually have better electricity, the alternating current, and that is what we've been using all this time.
Indeed.
People say that no, it cannot happen, it can't work, it is not true. But for him, because he was very convinced, he went ahead and he invented alternating current, and that is what we are using globally.
Indeed.
So, as opinion, first of all, do the assessment, have that self-conviction, and it's gonna be, if you are convinced and you are also willing to put in the hours, the work, the effort, it's gonna be sustainable.
You're right.
Yeah.
All right, so the view on, of course, you wrote the unpopular opinion, and because we're winding up, I would like you to tell us what's the future of opinions in the country as we speak looking like?
Of course, right now, because of technology and access to social media, you find that all the 50 million of us, we have our own opinions.
Everyone.
And so everybody will be throwing
Even
their
kids.
opinions. Even yes, and we should allow them to have these opinions. But what we need to do is that to ensure that everybody is able to share their opinion, but then how do we filter these opinions up to a level whereby we can get now the best opinions and then have a long-term plan around these opinions so that it can shape development going forward. It's not just a matter of us having opinions. It's about how do we convert these opinions into substantial benefits to the society. And that is the level we want to get to. And these opinions can be shaped if we are able to have quality opinions.
Quality opinions.
And where do quality opinions come from? Quality opinions will come from people who are well educated. And that's why I advocate for free education. Anybody who is educated, when they make a point, as much as probably we could be having a little jokers here and there, but most of them, they make points or they make their arguments based on some facts. So you'll find that these people, they actually give you better opinions. And then we have people who are naturally intelligent, naturally wise. So also let us listen to these people so that at the end of the day, we are only getting quality opinions, which we can implement.
Thank you so much. Briefly, please, what is the future looking like on opinions?
We are still far much behind as a nation and the world as a whole. And mine is very simple. I'd wish to, make it out to the public. It is high time we give our citizens, because this is something that affects us as a nation, nationwide. And there's no need to be over-aggressive to your citizens. There's no need to be militant. There's no need to act as a dictator or a demagogue whenever your opinions we are giving out. We are saying as students that we need our help to be, to be scrapped off. Mtuongezee help badala kuikata. We need the citizens and the comrades countrywide to get their rights. Now when we are speaking out in such cases, utaskia some people will try and threaten you in a way. Now, it is high time as a nation, let us be an open nation that listens to its citizens without being over aggressive to them, without being militant, without acting like dictators, without being demagogues to them. And we for me, I always like telling them that I like sending stern warning to whoever is trying to frustrate or to intimidate someone giving out their opinions. Let them listen to their citizens so that we better our governance. But it stands, we are still far when it comes to matters opinion.
Thank you so much, General Vini. Thank you so much, Ann Kitalesi. Without forgetting, there is a book here that is called The Unpopular Opinion. Of course, the non-reformist approach to the sustainability reform agenda, with a bias for access to education, decent work, socio-economic justice, and moral values, written by Ann Kitalesi. And of course, it's it's nice to have it here, to understand the basis on the unpopular opinion and the popular opinion, as well as we have just have it right here on the Morning Drift. Depths of opinion. We have concluded the conversation. Thank you so much for coming once more, and I believe you've noted some few things or details that you have. Remember, your opinion matters, either the popular or the unpopular. See you next time when we are having this kind of conversation, of course, to have just intelligent in the society and the community at large. See you tomorrow. We'll be having Entertainment Friday, and of course we'll shape the Morning Drift as the Morning Drift. Remember, this is starting from 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. rather to 10 a.m. Thank you so much. See you next time. My name is Okech, and this is the Morning Drift.